NetCredit is here to say yes, because you're more than a credit score. Apply in minutes and get a decision as soon as the same day. Loans offered by NetCredit or lending partner banks and serviced by NetCredit. Application subject to review and approval. Learn more at netcredit.com/partners. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hello, friends and listeners. I'm Natalie Jean, and I, along with Amber Nelson, host the show Place Under Neith, the show that you are, in fact, currently listening to. We are on a season break at the moment, and so in the meantime, we are uploading our live streams from Twitch over to this feed. The Twitch shows are Wednesday evenings at twitch.tv/LPNTV, and then they will be uploaded to this feed a couple days later. So if you're new here, we do have much more structured shows during the seasons, but right now in between, you can listen to us spout off about current events and news stories that are happening right now. So thank you guys so much for your patience, for your patronage, and for your focus and attention while you fold your laundry. Someplace underneath.
I had a catfish plate at the church in Mississippi that was delicious. Hi, everybody.
When did you go to it? Oh, in Mississippi.
I went to Mississippi recently and had a very bad time. So I'm trying to think of positive things to say. I had a catfish plate from the church that was very good. Fresh catfish, homemade baked beans, coleslaw.
Was it fish fry?
Fish fry. Church fish fry for dinner
Fridays,
on the grounds.
right?
Yeah, that's right. It was like about something, $11. I don't know, but it was good.
So the fish, Mississippi
catfish. It was
the
delicious.
fish.
And the church service, they talked about how you're not supposed to curse, even the words "Geez Louise."
I mean, what are you going to... Your bride is 14 years old. Do you think she wants to hear that kind of language? She is a child.
Yeah, she can't. A
Okay?
child can't. Because it means, like our producer said, Jesus Louises. And
you're not allowed to say that because it's still a curse.
Because that means Jesus is trans.
Yeah.
He's doing a drag show.
Jeez Louise.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. You're not supposed to say that, psychedelia. Yeah. No.
Oh, man. Well, we're just fucked now. Thanks a lot. Right before you were showing me what is soaking?
Soaking is this. It's just leaving the penis in the vagina and you don't go in and out. You just do this. And that's what Mormons do, I think.
It is what Mormons do.
Because, I guess if you do this and this, that's the sin. But if you just slip it in once, that's a half sin.
I've never seen somebody do it with their hand before, but this is correct.
What about the church and the steeple? How do you do that? Here's the church.
Here's the steeple.
Look inside and there are all the people.
Is this also how you kind of make a vagina that you can look through?
Oh, right.
I forget how you do that. You know how you'll give people advice and just generally people give advice and then they don't follow that advice? You know, we all just do that. I always tell people less is more with Botox. Get just a little, you need touches of it.
Yeah.
And then I let them talk me in to more units that I need. Look at my forehead right now.
Natalie, I was about to say, you don't look like...
I cannot do this.
You don't look like you have Botox at all.
I can't do this at all right now.
Really? Natalie, that's scary.
I know. It's very scary. But the nice thing about Botox is that it lasts for just a couple months and then it goes away.
I've been thinking about getting Botox. I'll figure it out in my pussy lips.
I don't know if that's going to help anything, really. You want it to be more, you want your pussy lips to be more smooth.
That's right. More smooth.
Less articulate.
Can you do that? Eleanor Condor past 69. I don't know. If you tip extra and wink, they'll do it.
I mean, they'll probably, if you paid somebody to do it, they'd probably do it. I don't think you could clench, though.
God, what do you think that pastor would say? The one that said, I can't say geez Louise. If I was like, I'm thinking about getting Botox in my pussy lips.
Botox.
Would he kill over from a heart attack? I don't know.
I would pay to see that happen. Mm-hmm. Hi, Scoony Teeny from Pittsburgh. You finally made it to a stream. Good to see you.
Oh, he was also talking about how worldliness is evil.
Scoontini?
Scoontini, yeah. He hates
she or they, I'm not sure what your pronouns are.
Right. Geez Louise, that's a smooth pussy. That's right, Rob Hooker. That's right.
So smooth down there. You'd be like a Barbie. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So not your mama's cryptid. They do soak. Sometimes they do have the friends jump on the bed, which I guess is... Somehow, it's all of these stupid rules that don't mean anything that they just try to go around that causes people to go through like all the traumatic stuff because they're just like, well, it's not exactly this. So let's see if we can. But if I just lay on the ground with my legs spread open and you just get on top of it and you do a jump and dive off of the top bunk on top of me and see if I can land in there.
You do one of these on the bed.
What's that called? A suplex? Elbow drop.
Elbow drop. That's right. I mean, people pay for this stuff. They pay a lot of money to do what teenagers in high control religions are scared to do.
It's true. Yeah. Well, Botox in his butthole.
Wow.
Megan Moss. What was that supposed to do?
I guess you can't shit for a week. I don't know.
Man, I've never heard of that. I know people, including Marcus Parks, has gotten it in his head because it relaxes certain muscles that give you migraines up here. So you can get it in your head because essentially it's just like it freezes your muscles for a while. Wow. So it can help with migraines for some people.
All right. Got to get Botox. I actually might get it right here. Whatever. Welcome to Someplace.
Listen, I'll give you a full rundown of my opinion on all of the. I think you're perfect and beautiful, but I'll tell you what my opinions are on Botox in general, off air. We'll do it a different time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Some place under the train trestle. I was trying to come up with a good Botox podcast name, and that's all I came up with.
I don't think I'd go get Botox at a place called Someplace Underneath. I'd be like, underneath the bridge?
Yeah, underneath the bridge.
What are you doing to me?
We're both just back from break and just getting my mind back in
it's hard
order.
to get the rigmarole. Definitely. I went to Mississippi, had a bad time. Went to New Orleans, had a great time. That's my butthole after eating gumbo.
Right.
But yes, we had a wonderful time. And, it's so interesting being in these, because I was in Mississippi in this high control area where I could not wait to fucking flee. And unfortunately, some people do not get to come out and they do self-harm perpetrated by an abuser. And I personally think that it's the abuser's fault and they should face some time.
Well, yeah, I think you're alluding to what we're going to talk about today, which is a case that's been unfolding. I think we're going to talk about this most of the hour because it is vast and confusing and it's a tangled web. I'm talking about the case of Mica Miller, which has been basically been viral for the last 5-6 days.
That's why I'm glad we have the internet, because if this was just only in the hands of like fake news, then it wouldn't really be talked about.
It definitely has reached a lot of ears because of people looking at what's going on and questioning a lot of things about what just happened. I guess let's just get right into it. Let's switch over to my PowerPoint, please. So we have this lovely young woman. Her name was Mica Acacia, a.k.a. Mica Miller. Mica Miller. Mica Miller is her married name, but her family is referring to her as Mica Acacia.
Oh, because her husband's Miller last name, and fuck him and his whole lineage. We'll get into it. His father's a piece of shit.
Spoiler, the family is not great.
Throw the whole family in the trash.
So Mica was a 30-year-old pastor's wife based out of Myrtle Beach, North Carolina. The church that she was overseeing alongside her former husband is called Solid Rock. It's based out of Myrtle Beach, not California, North Carolina. The couple has been married since 2017. So her husband is Pastor John Paul Miller. This is this guy. Here's him giving, I think this is a sermon about demonic pride, which is cool. Look at this guy in his little handsome white blazer. On April 28th, 2024, which is just a week ago, he gives a full sermon, possibly two that day, in front of his flock. And he ends that day with this announcement at the end of all of his other joke telling and being fun to the crowd. So if you guys can find it, it's basically, also you guys can easily find it out there. It is, you can Google John Paul Miller announcing wife's death. He talks his regular sermon, and at the very end of it, he just casually announces that his 30-year-old wife has died from what he calls self-induced. Self-induced death is what he says, I think. So that is a very strange way to frame that. First off, he is essentially, I don't know if it's because he's in the moment, but you wouldn't normally say self-induced. Also, you wouldn't necessarily, if you had a tragedy, for example, if your spouse had this shocking, horrific, tragic ending, would you then like go in front of a group of people that was also being filmed for the internet and say, yeah, it was suicide, and you know how crazy she had a bunch of mental health issues, so she couldn't get her medicine.
That's narcissistic behavior. That's shit my mom would do. Like every time I'm like, something happens and I'm like, please don't talk about it. She's like, well, everybody, Amber cried. She cried, told me not to talk about it, but here we are. Like, that's something an absolute hysterical narcissist would do.
Yeah, that sucks. Even as an adult, she still does that?
Yeah.
Cool. That's fun. I really like that for you, that journey.
Yeah, and I don't want to make this about me. We're talking about Mica, but I do agree with, like, I can see, like, the narcissistic behavior.
So he goes on to say in the sermon, by the way, all of the people in this church know her. Many of them are her friends. And he talks about her mental health issues and then tells everybody to get up and leave without speaking about it. So he says this at the very end. He tells them all to stand, gives the news, and then says, please don't talk about this amongst each other. Just leave. Again, very bizarre, suspicious behavior, right? This in itself is almost like a self-tell in a certain way, right? Because even if he didn't admit anything, somebody like you just said who might have megalomania or something like that, he would feel the need to control the situation. However, if you're not in that mindset, announcing something in that way that goes to the internet is a very bizarre thing to do. So it's immediately drawing eyes to it. And so, however, that's not the only thing that has drawn people's attention, because immediately after this, and it turns out before this tragedy, her family had been speaking out, not necessarily calling him out by name, but also calling him out by name for a while before this suicide happened.
He's had a history.
So the same morning of that sermon, Mica's sister, whose name is Sierra, makes this post on Facebook. There's a lot of talk already going on, so I want to set the record straight. Our sister Mica Miller passed away yesterday. Please do not listen to false stories being shared about her. Mica was a God-fearing, joyful, loving woman who did not deserve the abuse she endured. If you hear anything about this from anyone other than her family, please question it. Reach out to her siblings and parents. Keep our family in your prayers, and if you have any information that needs to be shared, please contact one of us. Please respect us in this time and honor her memory with joy that she is no longer suffering. Justice for Mica is the end of that, right?
Yes, and they say no longer suffering because he was emotionally and financially and physically abusive to her.
Well, it seems that there's a fair amount of evidence that that's true, right? Because we don't want to be throwing out stuff just willy-nilly based on vibes, which of course the internet is going to do.
Right, I'm sorry. Okay.
But there is a lot of evidence to suggest this. And also, we want to be sure to talk about this in a way that there is so much suspicious stuff happening, right? But we don't want to go purely off of even the family. So when somebody dies by suicide, it's not that uncommon for the family to say something's amiss, that they would never do that, that there's a conspiracy happening. It's just the way that trauma happens, right? You're trying to like process this impossible thing that your loved one is just gone. And sometimes suicidal thoughts and people who feel those things, it's a shock, like they hide them so deeply, you never know what's happening, right?
Because she had a journal the whole time about what was happening to her, and he made a homeless man finish on her.
Well, I don't know if we have...
That's not evidence, it's not proof, but like who would... I don't know, maybe she just made it up.
I don't know if that's been confirmed that's really her journal or not. It's the only thing I'm going to say. I think that's quite possible that it's true, but that's not confirmed as much as some other things that we have. I just want to be clear. I'm not trying to talk over you. I just don't want us to be spreading any false information.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of times the family is going to say a lot of things that are them trying to process this trauma, right? However, in this case, we have a lot. We have police reports, we have criminal histories, we have testimonies from family and friends. We have people reporting his actions to them in the past as this is all coming out. So as Mica's sister is making this post on Facebook, right, we're also getting this weird announcement from her pastor husband. And then her obituary very shortly after comes out. And it is immediately clear that John Paul Miller has written it. He is the one who wrote it. Oh. And its contents are so perplexing. Her story begins to go viral on the internet. So I want to kind of go through this obituary here a bit. So as you see, she had just turned 30 when she died, Myrtle Beach, and she survived by her husband, Pastor John Paul Miller of Myrtle Beach, stepchildren. Oh, it's South Carolina, you guys. I'm so sorry. I think I said North Carolina earlier. I apologize. It is South Carolina. So we're all clear. So, and then it says stepchildren, Logan, Zachary, Eli, Asher, and Selah. I don't know how you say that name. It also lists her brothers and sisters. So she has a lot of family around her. And then it goes on to say, Mica was energetic, affirming, adventurous, faithful, loving, giving, forgiving, talented, joyous, creative, all of these very complimentary things, right? Then it says she and JP, which is John Paul, have been friends since 2009.
Which would make her how old?
14.
Cool. And how old was he?
He was 28.
Cool.
And that was when they became friends.
What 28-year-old doesn't have a 14-year-old friend?
Who he pastors over? Yeah, I don't know. They married then in 2017 and spent almost every single day and night together. Goes on to talk about what she'd love to do, hiking, doing all of these things. She was vegan for a while. He then says, Mica was a great stepmother and an amazing wife and helpmate. She helped Pastor JP with the church in every way. He talks about some of the roles she took on, including women's ministry leader and pastor's assistants. She did all of this with the utmost, he misspelled utmost, I think that's what he meant, integrity and faithfulness. Mica made the greatest effort to always be the best wife she could be. She truly served Jesus and her husband with all of her heart. She would praise her husband after every church service, telling him he was the best preacher in the world, even if it wasn't true. She also told him that he was the funniest preacher in the world, even though that wasn't true either. Mica loved her family so much with, I believe that's 8 O's. She looked forward, which is a weird thing to put in an obituary, by the way.
Yeah.
She looked forward to every text from her father or brother. She sought every opportunity to pour into her sisters. So she then goes on to talk about how faithful she was to God. Mica wanted more than anything for each member of her family to serve Jesus continually. Mica loved her ice bath, nice car, sauna, house, etc. But more than anything on earth was her desire to see people come to Jesus.
Weird flex, man, and an obituary.
Yeah.
When I die, tell him I loved my Ferrari. Amber loved her brand name sneakers.
You know, I would, to me, that sounds a little bit like a dog whistle, right? Mm-hmm. So first off, in this obituary, he goes on about how great he is in it, about her.
Narcissist.
Which is so bizarre to do, even if you had nothing to do with what happened. Would you not immediately start to question this person? But I think somebody in this mindset doesn't even think that this is weird.
Yeah.
He also is so insular in this community, which we'll talk about, but he is the pastor of this church, which was his family handed to him. So he is a little God. He's a little Lord inside of this world, and he's never pushed back on, ever, including, we'll get into, but yes, as I mentioned, he did in fact, yes, I'm going to say groom her. She was in his youth group, and that's when they became friends, when he was teaching her as a middle school student.
I mean, that's just like the classic groom.
It is the classic groom, yes.
You're in a youth group and like a young girl and you're so happy, and then your little youth pastor comes and here's this swanky older man that can protect you.
Yeah. And it's really, really normalized. Obviously, we know that in a lot of these communities. And I have a lot of feelings. I know people in that community also have a lot of strong feelings and feel a lot of guilt. But anyway, yes, and this paints her in such a specific way that limits her and makes her the wife as her only good attribute. Brit, Nick, 94, you're correct. And I also think he doesn't even know her in the first place. She probably has a hard time knowing herself because she has been categorically
a helpmate,
pointed out as a kid to this man and his sights, and then made her what she was, right? And then at that thing with she loved all of her things. To me, what I see in that is he wants everybody to know what a good husband he was to her.
He's a provider.
Yeah, that she had this great life. And so whatever you hear about her, what she's going to tell you or what you've heard about online, just remember she had an ice bath, okay?
Also, ice baths are not good for women. It shrinks your ovaries.
Is that true?
I don't know, but it feels like it does. Get out of there. Go into sauna.
That's another Science by Amber lesson.
Hey, this is Will Arnett, host of Smartless. Smartless is a podcast with myself and Sean Hayes and Jason Bateman, where each week one of us reveals a mystery guest to the other two. We dive deep with guests that you love, like Bill Hader, Selena Gomez, Jennifer Aniston, David Beckham, Kristen Stewart, and tons more. So join us for a genuinely improvised and authentic conversation filled with laughter and newfound knowledge to feed the Smartless mind. Listen to Smartless now on the SiriusXM app. Download it today.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite? Realtor.com's got them. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back? Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pro's #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
So the obituary is really weird, and people obviously all across the country and probably the planet who saw it immediately felt very uncomfortable with what they were reading. Not, of course, some of the internet's going to go immediately, oh, well, he did it. But at the very least, people are going, what is going on here? Especially when he self-admits that he started hanging out with her when she was 14 in the obituary. It's so weird to do that.
Well, some people, like when they've been a little god their whole life, they just never expect a pushback.
Exactly. I mean, and we won't even probably have time to get into it, but his father also has a bevy of charges against him that involve SA. So it's not necessarily have that, your father doing something is not a reflection of you necessarily, but in some ways, if this is the world he was raised inside, it might have been normalized for him most of his life, right?
Yeah, like how were you raised? And if you're not like everybody, you don't choose your parents, but I'm sorry, if my dad was molesting children in Pakistan, I probably wouldn't talk to him.
Spoiler.
Sorry, I don't want to jump the shark.
It's not a spoiler.
Thank you for the description, Tank Girl, Jet Girl.
Even though that obituary doesn't say anything in it, and that weird announcement he does on the pulpit doesn't say anything, Mica had served John Paul divorce papers before this. Right before, actually, and was in the process of obtaining a restraining order from him. So this is a brief timeline. October 8th and 9th last year, she first files for divorce from John Paul Miller, according to the South Carolina Judicial Branch. That is the first time. So even though there was new papers filed very recently, this had been going on since last year. February 13th of this year, which we don't have full information as to why or what was going on, the October divorce was dismissed. Then, right after, John Paul Miller files for separation from Mica Miller. March 12th, the separation was dismissed without prejudice. Again, all of these weird things are happening that we're not probably ever going to fully know what was going on. And we don't really need to as the public.
For a woman to file divorce against her pastor husband, whom he groomed when she was 14, it's kind of a big deal because divorce is a huge no-no in this church.
Yeah. So February, the separation was dismissed. And then in April of this year, this is just a few weeks before this stream that we're doing right now, Mica Miller files for separation. April 23rd, a hearing for the separation was set for June 5th, and a notice went out. According to everyone around Mica at this time period, she was looking forward to the future. She had just gotten rebaptized. She had changed churches. She was making all these plans. That's not to say people who die by suicide don't have plans and don't continue on, and then just sometimes that happens. But let's just say it was not something anyone in her personal circle in these last few months would have expected her to do, because she was very excited. And yes, I see that Distal 553. We do. I will talk about that too, where she did say to her sister at one point, if I wind up dead with a bullet in my head, it was not by me, it was JP.
Damn. Also getting rebaptized in that culture, that you might as well get a new makeover, a haircut. Right. It's like a fresh glow up.
Right.
So to just do that, you don't just do that.
And mind you, in her comment section, because she had posted it on her Facebook, she says to somebody who's speaking with her that she had really dark memories from her original baptism. So that might have something to do with John Paul.
He baptized her?
I don't know offhand, but she mentions that her original baptism was a negative experience.
Whoa.
Okay, so right here, let's just pop on his announcement, because you guys have it. Thank you for grabbing that. I recommend you go. You can find the whole thing on many platforms now. But yeah, the part of that was him saying, get up and leave. Don't speak about this.
God, they love saying don't talk about it, that God wouldn't want you to talk about it. What if I want to talk about
The
it?
woman who they all knew and many loved and had personal relationships with. Just don't bring it up again.
Yeah, she's dead. Bye. That's
It's
it.
over. This is like so yesterday. Okay.
God, and there's so many people within those communities that when you do bring it up, they're like, no, the preacher said hush. They said hush, and we got to follow, because if we go against the preacher, we might as well go to hell.
Yeah. And to their credit, there have been people from that community who have come forward saying, I regret ignoring all of these things that we all watched happen.
And when somebody has your soul in their heart, in their hands, and they say, if you disobey, you go to hell.
It's almost like that's pure evil
It's almost
that
like
we've
it's pure
just
evil.
normalized.
And then they describe hell. They say it's fire and brimstone and torture. And they have whole sermons where they're like, the devil beats you and you're dead forever and you can't do. And if you go against me, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, Al Condor Pasta 69, good to see you. It is weird to say I don't trust anyone named John Paul. It does make me question who their parents are in the first place, just because I'm just like, so all Bible names? We're all doing all Bible names?
Was John Paul the Pope, the Nazi Pope? Or was that Paul Jean?
I thought the Nazi was the next one. The
Peter Paul?
Is Sean Paul the one that goes, shake that thing,
it, yep,
do,
Sean Paul.
da-da-da-da, shake that thing.
Oh, right.
Ooh, da-da-da-da. Is that Sean Paul?
That's Sean Paul.
All right, great. Also, if you guys back there want to pull up Mica's Facebook, if you can connect the sound to that, if you have any chance, her name's Mica Acasey on Facebook. After all this is going on, right, we have all of this information. So March 22nd, just last month from this stream, March 22nd, 2024, Mica had been, I wouldn't even call it subtweeting. She's being pretty open on her account. So this is, if you just want to pull up, I know you can't hear it, but if you guys want to put, this is the video. It's probably about 3 down on her page. This is her on March 22nd talking about how even if you are being abused, like essentially saying, going against what her church tells her and what she has been told to believe, that she's been told God hates divorce, but God hates abuse more. And that's kind of telling, I'm going to go ahead and say. So if you guys can figure out a way to hook that up to
I will say she
us.
seems very strong-willed. Even though this woman was groomed at a young age, the fact that she did love to hike and to do all these outdoor things, she looks very strong.
She is strong-willed, because you have to remember she was only in her 20s until a month ago.
Yeah.
30 years old is young,
It's very
especially when you're doing these huge things and that you're running this church and you're this leader. That's a big responsibility to have at that age. And she is obviously that is the age when you really start to gain your own self-confidence and your own, strengthen yourself, and you're not relying on a partner necessarily to give you self-esteem, and which is another reason people find it so questionable. But I would like to just add the caveat now, with the evidence that we do have, I do believe, and most people would agree with us, that it was suicide. It wasn't.
She did buy the gun.
There's a lot of video evidence. There's a lot of conspiracy theories going on right now that don't really have any grounding in reality. More things could be brought to the surface that would make us maybe question it more. But as of now, there's witnesses, there's video footage, there's all kinds of stuff that it was her. Even though this seems so suspicious, it is most likely that she did in fact die by suicide.
Right. But it died by suicide, but he was the one that did the horrible thing.
Which is one of the reasons I really wanted to talk about this case is...
It's second-degree murder, Macy? Would that be?
It's maybe not even. And we like to talk about maybe rules and laws that should be changed in this country sometimes on this show. And when is not pulling the trigger matter? Right. At what point does pulling the trigger or not pulling the trigger matter when there's been, which more stuff we'll get into, the amount of evidence and abuse and stuff that has happened. terrifying her.
There was a case many years ago where a young man died by suicide, and there was his girlfriend texting him, quote, "You should kill yourself. And then he did. And then she went to, I don't know if she went to jail, but she went to court.
Are you talking about the one a couple years ago? I can't remember the names off the top of my head.
I thought it was the one that happened like 10 years. Maybe it was a couple years ago. I'm sorry. I don't know.
10 and a couple years ago is basically the same to me at this point. But you're talking about it
was a young couple. Yeah. I don't know if she went to jail or
believe she did go to jail.
But hey, look at that. We got something here.
And the family is not stopping. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with them, and you got the video of her. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of evidence. So I'm not completely convinced that he'll face charges, but there's a lot of hope at the very least that he'll face something.
At least just make him not a pastor anymore. You should not be a religious leader if you basically talked somebody, like abused somebody into this.
Well, I don't know I doubt he's going to be at the very least stalked and harassed. I don't know if he can go back to being a pastor. But I don't think that's enough. Pope Benedict was the Nazi Pope, Kinder Bun Bun.
Thank you.
So we're all clear on that one.
So we're all clear.
We were not correct. So we don't fully know why their divorce filings were stopped last year. But the videos that she was putting out towards the end of her life, they speak volumes. They say a lot about how she was feeling, about what was going on in her life. Beyond wanting a divorce based on maybe having a controlling partner, there is a lot more evidence that much, much darker things were happening in their marriage and also in this man's life in general. So again, just yesterday, which would be May 7th, 2024, it had been publicly confirmed by the police in the coroner that her death was ruled officially as suicide. That did surprise me, but it doesn't clear everything up. It doesn't make it, he's fine. He didn't do it. He's an innocent little boy once again. He's not. So I want to kind of base what we talk about on things that are pretty backed up with evidence and verified, which include him stalking, harassing, disrespectfully talking to her, and a criminal record that he holds. So this is on March 11th. They were already going through all of these issues behind the scenes, right? So this is about a month and a half before she died. And this is a police report. On 3/11/2024, a police officer is writing this in his report. He responded to Highway 17. There was an East Coast Honda dealership in the Myrtle Beach section of Horry County in reference to harassment. Upon my arrival, I spoke with the victim, which advised she was out with one of our officers just now, getting a report from an unknown person slashing her tires. She advised the officer helped change her tire, and then she went to the gas station for gas and then straight to East Coast Honda to get her tire fixed. She advised while at the gas station, the suspect in this incident showed up next to her at the pump trying to talk to her. She told him to go away. She does not want to talk. And then when she pulled her phone out to record, he sped off. The victim then leaves and goes to East Coast Honda, and the suspect shows up again. Something is redacted here. While I was out with the victim, she received a no-caller ID call, which ended up being the suspect. The suspect was advised that the victim does not want any further contact, and if he proceeds, then warrants may possibly be written up. The suspect acknowledged the advisory by saying, okay. The victim advised me she was afraid for her life. She also advised she blocks his numbers and still gets calls and texts from him on other numbers. So in that police report, he is witnessing him calling her from a blocked number to harass her. The police officer saw this. The police on a different forum also acknowledged the discovery of a tracking device on her car at this time.
Wow.
So if you just hear people are following me around, people are slashing my tires, which she was telling to people, if you don't have anybody backing that up, it can sound a little bit paranoid. And I have to mention, that her husband has been repeatedly telling people that she was schizophrenic and bipolar.
Right. Yeah. He kept threatening to throw her in mental asylums.
He did throw her in mental institutions, which I have a whole load of questions about beyond that. But it's very telling to me that he made it clear that she experiences schizophrenia, which I deeply question.
No.
Because you'll never guess when she got diagnosed with that. It was right after they got married.
So this is, what's that called where you're like, oh, this person did this, and then they secretly do it, but then they're not that? I don't know what that term would be.
Expand.
Just kind of like, oh, Natalie's crazy. She's crazy.
Gaslighting?
Gaslighting. Thank you. But you're not. And you're like, no, I'm not crazy. And you're like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah. As far as I've seen, I went through like 10 hours of stuff for this stream, and I didn't find anyone other than her husband saying that she had schizophrenia. And it happened after he basically owned her as his helpmeet.
Right. No family, no friends, no mom, sister saying this.
Yeah. And it just so happens that things that a stalker would do to you are things that people might go, oh, well, she was schizophrenic. She was probably really paranoid. Except the police witnessed some of it here.
Thank God they did.
And yeah, so the previous police report, which was the one that happened right before the one I just read off, is when the police came saying, basically in the report saying that they noticed a piece of metal was protruding from her tire. They found out that it was a thing that you can buy. It's a tire deflator that was put onto her tire that is meant to basically make the tire flat. But they didn't have enough evidence, even though she said it was this person. They don't name him. It's redacted in the police report. So they're calling him suspect 1, but she is saying it's my husband who did it. But they said we don't have enough evidence to be able to like charge him with that. So they couldn't do anything about it. And then that's when she goes to get her tire fixed. And the second report happens because he starts showing up. She films it. Police show up when he's gone. He calls her on the blocked number. And she's like, he's doing this to me all the time. I blocked his phone, so he like calls me on all these other phones. And they saw what happened. They heard him. They talked to him and said, leave her alone. And he agreed he would, which of course is not true. But
no, because his property's leaving him. How dare she?
Yeah. And which is really how it was, because as we'll hopefully get to today, or you look online, he had many infidelities in the marriage. He was already married whenever he started
grooming her. Married with kids.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 5 kids?
He had 5 kids. Allegedly, I don't have confirmation, but allegedly one of those kids is also from a different woman. So one woman, then his wife had kids with him. He was grooming the child. I don't want to say committed adultery. She might have been 18 at the point, or not. She might have been a lot younger when they started.
No. Also, the ex-wife looks just like Mica.
They do have very similar looks.
Alike.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, El Condor past the 69. Criminal bullying, is that a thing you can be charged with? I think we're going to be seeing a lot of changes in cases like this. I don't know what the exact laws are right now, and it probably varies state to state, but
I did go to the police with a friend of mine who was being harassed on like multiple platforms on social media. And she told that to the police, and they said, well, I know that's horrible, but she said that's annoying and there's nothing we can do about it. And she was like, really? Here's my phone. Here's all these threats and these messages. And like the police don't really care, because she was like, oh, they're showing pictures of like my dead family members and stuff. And they're like, yeah, that's kind of annoying. But I guess there's no legality in it.
Well, I think that there would be, you could have a case if they could somehow prove that he was slashing her, like putting her life in danger, essentially.
Yeah, the slashing tires is different, but like the constant calling and spamming and like going on the internet, that's, I guess, like the laws, how they're set up now, it's annoying.
Yeah, Psycho or Delia saying, yeah, their friend is dealing with that, the spam harassing and from their ex, and it's. I mean, what a horrible thing to go through. Also, True Goonie, I'm guessing the church harassed her into stopping the divorce. I imagine that's true, especially because of that in that Facebook video. And several of them, she talks about how conflicted essentially she was about divorce, because how many times it had been pounded into her head, even though her husband divorced a woman to be with her. I think she was coming to that age in her life where she was like starting to realize, oh, I'm using all this inductive reasoning now that this is all bullshit.
Because she's moving into the age of the original wife. So she's saying like, oh, like, because before it was like, no, I'm the special young one.
Right. It's because we have this like godly connect. He probably said, Jesus like spoke to me and you were my, just like a little bit like Chad and Lori, right?
Yeah.
So, and also the church harassing her into stopping the divorce, I think that's also true because one of the other pastors there, or reverend or whatever he calls himself, was the one vouching for the husband, John Paul, through all of this, defending him, saying there was no abuse. I was mentoring them through they were going to get back together. And so I do imagine the church was heavily pressuring her. But beyond that, despite the fact that he was openly having affairs, of course, that's not,
that's like a huge slap in the face. Yeah. Demon Lemonic, communal harassment.
Yeah. Gang stalking, truly. I mean, she was feeling as though people were participating, and if they were helping him, they need to face justice because that's disgusting. I wanted to go into a little bit. So after she sadly died, her family has been fighting hard for her. They already knew that she was going through stuff with this guy. I'm trying to withhold judgment because I don't know if they were a part of her spending time with him as a minor. Maybe it was extremely, maybe it was closed off and they didn't have any idea. I don't know what was going on. I know that they know what man he is and that they've been fighting for her, right? So after she passed, her brother and sister filed affidavits because they want to have control over like her part of the estate and like basically take away all the stuff that he's trying to withhold from them.
The ice bath?
Yeah, they want the ice bath. And he wants, and so in these affidavits, essentially they need to talk about the reasons that they want to gain some control over her assets because as the spouse, he would naturally have them, right? So her brother and her sister both filed these things. Her sister's name is Sierra Francis, which is the person who also I brought up the screenshot of her speaking on Facebook. And she has to kind of prove that there's some issues, right? She goes on to say in this affidavit that her and Mica spent much time together. They were daily texters. They were daily, they spent time with each other weekly. They would visit each other all the time. She says that her sister has expressed the abuse and violence against her by her husband to others and her, including family members and members of the church congregation. So there are a number of people who are able to testify to this. Mica told me that there were people following her, keeping track of where she went. She thought that Mr. Miller hired people to follow her. Mr. Miller later confirmed this during a sermon I watched, which, yes, he did. He said it in third person, but he was talking about himself.
What?
In a sermon.
What a fucking idiot. I mean, but he's a narcissist. So, What are you going to do?
Man, I have videos of some of these sermons. You can find them online later too, or maybe even next week. We'll make sure we have it hooked up correctly. But he says some wild stuff in his sermons.
All you got to do is just let him talk, and they'll,
for real,
close themselves in their own jail cell, I guess.
And so she also says in this affidavit that John Paul had begun moving assets that were in his name, including the car, and changed the deed of their house to the church, and then transferred interest to Crocodile Rocks, one of his sons, which is a bar that he owns, the pastor.
Oh, really? They can own a bar?
They can do whatever they want because,
right.
They're taking all those donations and investing in the bars and brothels and stuff of the town. So he started transferring all of these things away from him, basically so that I think she or her family would not be able to access any of the things that, by the way, he's also, of course, a millionaire as a pastor. He is very wealthy. The church has a private jet. They have like a bunch of money.
Pandora makes it easy for you to find your favorite music. Discover new artists and genres by selecting any song or album, and we'll make you a personalized station for free. Download on the Apple App Store or Google Play and enjoy the soundtrack to your life.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. Finding a home is like dating. You're not just looking for a place to live, you're searching for the one. That's where Realtor.com comes in. Like any good matchmaker, they know exactly where to look. With over 500,000 new real listings straight from the pros every month, you could find your perfect match today. Ranch style with a pool, barn dominium with an in-law suite? Realtor.com's got 'em. Modern craftsman with a big yard and a treehouse out back? Realtor.com will have you saying, yep, that's the one. No more swiping. It's time to start finding. Download the Realtor.com app today, 'cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey. Over 500,000 new listings every month based on average new for sale and rental listings. February 2024 through January 2025.
In February of 2024, leading up to all of this stuff happening, for him making these crazy sermons, from her posting these things on Facebook, Mr. Miller removed, this is from her affidavit, Mr. Miller removed my sister's personal items from the home that they shared while she was admitted to Waccamaw Mental Health Facility and left them at the apartment of, and names a woman who's like a friend of the family. So in that, right there in the affidavit, she's noting that he put her in this mental institution, which has happened before. And I really want to know what's going on with this fucking mental health facility, because there's no reason that anybody knows in her life why she should have been in a mental institution at that time and why he was able to put her there.
The only person that says she's crazy
is her husband.
It's her husband that groomed her.
Yes.
But I guess she's a woman. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's so fucking crazy. So while she was there, he took all of her stuff and moved it out of their house. So
this is like 1950s having my wife committed because she has like political disagreements than I do.
It is exactly that.
It's the same thing.
It is. So prior to her admission to Waccamaw, Mica was gathering and sorting the evidence she had to bring to an attorney for filing a divorce to support her claims against Mr. Miller as to his abuse, character, his paramours, and associates he paid off or blackmailed. While at the facility, those documents, emails, files, etc. were removed from her phone, personal laptop, vehicle, and purse and never recovered. He also admits on the pulpit that he goes through her phone. He says it on the fucking in front of the church. There's video of it. He says, I went through, when my wife went to the hospital, I went through her phone.
God, I mean, that's not a crime in and of itself, but like,
I think it is, right? Can it be a crime?
Personal space invader? Space invader. Like you're in a spaceship.
Yeah.
But when you're, being accused of being such a gnarly guy, like this, just add that on the shit pile. You went through her phone. You had her committed.
And he talks about it proudly in church.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Final, Angie, what the fuck does a church need with a private jet? Unfortunately, a lot of them have them, especially those Southern churches. The people are into prosperity gospel, and they just fund those men's lives. Women, too. If you remember the Way Down documentary, yeah. I mean, they tens of millions, and they don't have to pay taxes. And
I could see being like, I want to go minister in this crazy place and I can't get a Delta flight at 2 a.m. and I got to go meet with somebody. I could see that maybe.
I don't know. That sounds like complete bullshit.
It sounds like a complete bullshit, though, now that I say it out loud. I was trying to play devil's advocate, but I don't think I can. Hey, you don't need this. Don't you a man of the people? Get the Delta flight.
Well, who's the one pastor who said he needed the private jet because there were demons on public airlines?
Oh, this shaky eye guy.
Kenneth Copeland? Was it Kenneth Copeland? I think it was.
Kenneth Copeland needs to have a hook through his mouth and thrown in the deepest ends of the ocean.
He's a very, very bad person.
We need to go fishing with him for a big, bad, dumbass animal.
Oh, yeah, sick swirl. Yeah, you just said that in the chat, too. There's demons on commercial. I'm pretty sure that was Kenneth Copeland. Yeah. And people buy it up and they give him money. They just keep giving them. A lot of people don't have any money to give it to him.
Because again,
and
when you're
others.
like, if you disagree with me, you're going to go to a place where there's eternal burning and
But if you give me
suffering.
money, I'm going to send you my vibe. I'm going to send you my vibes.
I have never screamed loud enough than when I was in a hotel and I turned on TV late at night and one of those commercial pastors was like, there was a woman who was dying of cancer and she gave the church all her cancer medication money. And you know what happened? God cured her cancer. And I was like, fuck you, you fucking liar. You liar. You're just taking people's money.
It's sick, man. It is sick. That is pure evil, in my opinion.
Is it just topsy-turvy time, Natalie? Are people who worship these churches, are they the hell ones?
I don't know if the people who go to those churches, but I do think if there is such a place or demons or whatever the fuck, I mean, it seems to me like the people running these churches are the ones who are the deceivers. So in this affidavit, her sister goes on to say that Mr. Miller was using one of Mica's accounts on social media so people would think it was her speaking while she was away. He changed all of her passwords. She couldn't access her iCloud account anymore.
Wait, sorry. Can you say the speaking while she's away again? I'm sorry, I kind of missed that one.
He was using her social media accounts and stuff to convince people that it was her, like basically speaking as her.
So he was like logging into her ex account and being like, here I am having a great day at the picnic on the ground.
Yeah, while she was
like,
institutionalized against her will. Yeah. Her sister goes on to say that Mica was very hopeful for the future. And she also said that she was very scared. She was scared her life would be taken from her. And she says here in this affidavit, Mica stated to me on many occasions, if I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me, it was JP. And again, that wording, it's sort of, it says a lot because it doesn't say he's going to shoot me. It says it was JP. And I wonder if even subconsciously she was saying, if I can't go on, it's because of this.
It's because of him. I mean, he should be charged with the same thing that girl was charged with that I mentioned earlier. That's the same. It's the same thing.
I imagine, hopefully, if this is continued to be pursued, that they're going to find a lot of evidence to suggest that he deserves charges because there seems to be a massive paper trail. Her brother also filed an affidavit to support his sister of taking over Mica's property and whatever that's called whenever they need to try to seize control from a person. He goes on in his affidavit to say that he was very aware of the family's dynamic, very aware of Mica's relationship with her husband, and that he used to be a member of Solid Rock, but he left because of things he witnessed there. And that was prior to all of this happening.
Oh, a lot of money laundering too.
Yeah, there are all kinds of charges. John Paul's father also has a bunch of fraud charges as well.
Fraud, sexual assault charges. What a beautiful family. What a God-fearing family.
Yeah. So also in this affidavit,
fuck them so much.
He says that he has evidence that he can provide to and we don't know the aftermath. All this stuff is just being filed in the last couple of days. But she forwarded him emails where he openly admits to slashing her tires and tracking her car. And the email that he has, John Paul apologizes for stalking her. It also goes on to say that he was angry with Mica and he said to her in the email, he put her family before him and that made him want to hurt her. In his words, this is the brother quoting John Paul in the email.
Oh, so she put her family before him.
Yes.
And that made him want to hurt her.
Yes. And then John Paul goes on in the email, when someone hurts me, I try to hurt them back rather than forgive.
What?
And instead of me forgiving you, I just attack and try to cause pain.
What?
He goes on to say Mica said on numerous occasions to her brother that she was afraid of John Paul and that she wanted to get away from him. Here's also a part of an email that is copy pasted from John Paul writing to Mica. Hi, Mica. I hope you are doing well. I'm ready to be done and move on and heal and find a first lady who won't treat me the way you are. I really hope you do great things. I was willing to do anything. I even had the amazing desire to have kids since you're not on meds. And I want to apologize for the flowers and fruit. It was already paid for to the last until your birthday. Feel free to give it all away. I sent that to you before I found out all the things that I have recently found out about you and what you've done, and you disgust me.
Wait, what did she even do?
It's probably not. I mean,
love her family before him? Yeah, he's being a piece of shit.
So there's a few things there that stick out to me. First off, calls her a first lady, which tells me what he thinks of himself, right?
Oh, the president.
Is there any religion that uses that term first lady? As far as I know, it's only the president of the country.
Well, he's acting like we are living in 1200s England and we can't go after him because he's the head of the church. We're in America and it's 2024. And if you push your wife to self-harm, you will go to jail. I don't care who you are. First, sir.
I really also hope that mental facility is investigated, because I feel it feels weird to me.
I thought you couldn't just put somebody in a mental facility like if they're over 18 and they say they don't want to be there.
I don't know if it's like he convinced her to tell them that she wanted to go or what. Oh man, we didn't even get to half of this stuff. You guys, I don't want to, we're not going to come back till next Wednesday, of course.
This might be solved, or
we'll play it by ear, but I just want to, I have all these things. You can find them online. He has a criminal record that includes battery and assault. He was hitting on a waitress, May 6th.
The day before?
It was
the day after.
It was a couple of days after. It was a couple of days after.
What the fuck?
She has gone on to interviews. She's spoken. She showed the text messages. She's been. It's been checked on. She's being honest. He said in some of the texts that he was going through a divorce because his soon-to-be ex-wife was bipolar and schizophrenic.
Of course the ex-wife is. Yeah, all of the women in his life are crazy.
He was asking for bikini photos from this waitress.
Also, again, his dad, corrupt, embezzling money, molesting children in Pakistan.
His son also, John Paul's, one of his sons is an adult and also received domestic violence charges from his wife.
Yeah, this is an abbreviated version of this. And can we play the clip of the church still going on and what the dad looks like? It's one of the videos I sent. Still going on. So that's the church. That's what it looks like. And that's the dad. And
so that was John Paul's father, who has all the criminal charges and still running a Bible college.
Because if you go on the website, the church says it's closed. It's still open.
There is just, guys, there is so much. Not only that one of his, we have to leave, I know, but one of his paramours, his girlfriend, he's been spotted with a bunch in the last week. Her husband died mysteriously in 2021, and John Paul held the sermon for the funeral. And it's one of his mistresses. The husband was paralyzed and he fell into a pool and drowned.
Right.
Yeah.
What a dog shit family.
There's so much more we could talk about, but we'll see how everything pans out this week. I really feel for her family. They have a GoFundMe. They are raising funds to fight for her. So
because you need money to fight the law. Unfortunately, the wealthy wins.
Oh, money talks. It's unfortunately the way it goes.
Hi, here I am. Sorry. Hi, I'm money.
It is the only, obviously, because people are broken, there's a bunch of fraud GoFundMes for this case.
There's fraud GoFundMes?
Always. Anytime there's a tragedy, people lie, and try to steal money.
Why are people like this?
The one that is real, that the family has, said is the real one, is help us get #Justice for Mica. It is being organized by Ryan Williams. That's the one that the family has acknowledged is the real one. So if you guys want to contribute, I'm definitely going to contribute for the show. Help the family because they have they're going to fight for her because this guy's got to get stopped. He's a bad person.
He's just going to keep, obviously,
he's dangerous.
Flirting with a woman 2 days later, asking for nudes. Like, he's going to do it again. He's
a dangerous guy.
He's a very dangerous. Also, like, a sermon like giving this message to his sheep. What are they going to do? But I do have a silly video to end.
Yeah, let's.
Sorry, I know we
got to.
But
thanks for the subs tonight. Days _in Demon Lemur Nick Tank Girl Jet Girl Raven Hello subscribed and gifted a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. And check Missy as well. Thank you. Let's watch this vid.
All right.
If you drink peppermint tea, you'll soothe your digestive system. If you drink peppermint tea with lavender...
That's right, like a G6. That was us.
Oh, no, that was us.
Red Bull vodkas. I had so many Red Bull vodkas over the weekend. I have pickled my liver.
Oh, man. But it was a good time, though.
It was a good time. Yeah, so we ended on something light. I know somebody did mention that they do find it ill that there's some place underneath and then Tears of a Clown. But I guess that we will end on funny things to make it nicer.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just also
the scheduled programming.
Just like it's kind of just like also following the news, you know. I think always, even in newspapers, you have all of this horrible stuff next to fun
and the fun. Yeah, so now we have like the fun, lewd, dark, heavy, tits out, cocks grabbed television show. Stick around. Holden is going to pull out his dick.
There may or may not be those things, not guaranteed. But like, yeah, you get to end the night on a funnier note.
It's better to end the night on a funnier note than like, and then they all died. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, go to sleep now.
Yeah.
But yeah, please go look up the videos of his sermons, of her videos. We might talk about it next week, depending on what happens. But thank you guys for joining us. We got to get out of here. Bye.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.
Hey, this is Jeff Lewis from Radio Andy. Live and uncensored, catch me talking with my friends about my latest obsessions, relationship issues, and bodily ailments. With that kind of drama that seems to follow me, you never know what's going to happen.
You can listen to Jeff Lewis live at home or anywhere you are. Download the SiriusXM app for over 425 channels of ad-free music, sports, entertainment, and more. Subscribe now and get 3 months free. Offer details apply.
If you're frustrated with low sex drive, Vyleesi can help. Vyleesi, or bremelanotide, treats low sex drive in women with no daily medication, no alcohol restrictions, and no hormones. Vyleesi is clinically proven to increase your interest in sex. Take control of your sex life on your terms and visit Vyleesi.com to schedule a telemedicine appointment. That's VYLEESI.com. Vyleesi is a prescription medicine used to treat hypoactive sexual desire disorder, HSDD, in premenopausal women who have not had problems with low sexual desire in the past and have low sexual desire no matter the type of sexual activity, situation, or partner. The low sexual desire is troubling to them and is not due to medical, mental health, or relationship problems, or medicine or other drug use. Do not use Vyleesi if you have uncontrolled hypertension or known heart disease. The most common side effects include nausea, flushing, injection site reactions, headache, and vomiting. Consult your healthcare professional for more information and see full PI at Vyleesi.com or call 800-922-1038. Go to Vyleesi.com for a telemedicine appointment to find out if Vyleesi is right for you. That's VYLEESI.com.